Jasmine Crockett now removed from Congress?
Since we're talking about integrity, I'm confused as to why my Republican colleagues aren't talking about the lack of integrity when it comes to the president's family's visas. Let me remind y'all that Melania, the First Lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what that stands for is an Einstein visa. Now,
after threatening First Lady Melania Trump at hearing, is apparently going to have to take a back seat to what just happened on the Senate floor. And I can't believe what just happened to John Fetterman.
Did you get any clues on the floor about what time this might wrap?
Oh my God! I just want to go home. I've already I've missed our entire trip to the beach. My family's going to be back before we that. So and again, I'm going to vote no. There's no drama. The votes are going to go. In fact, the only interesting votes are going to be on the margin, whether that's Collins or Johnson and those. But all the Democrats, we all know how that's going to go. And I don't think it's really helpful to put people here till when some ungodly hour. And again,
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
This is it, folks. Possibly. It's over. Maybe, depending on what happens next. And if you're retired, living on a fixed income, over the age of 65 and waiting on your next Social Security check, then you're going to want to make sure you stick with me here and pay very close attention. Chapter is helping folks just like you save thousands on their Medicare right now. And if I said saving money and tightening up budgets to account for high inflation and to get prepared for a tough road ahead, well, then that would be a broad understatement, I think.
The world. At the top is Switzerland. They're only paying a quarter for interest rates. Cambodia, Japan, Denmark, Thailand, Botswana, Barbados, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Cuba, Sweden, Morocco, Cabo Verde, South Korea, Algeria, Canada, Albania, Libya, Malaysia, China, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Czechia, Bolivia, Australia, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, Kuwait, Papua New Guinea, Bosnia, United Kingdom, and the UAE are all paying lower interest rates than the United States of America, which has one of the hottest and strongest economies in the world. The president sent this note to the Fed chair. It says, Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being lost and there is no inflation. And the president is right. There is historically low inflation thanks to his policies, and we will continue.
Because the president of the United States just laid into Fed Chair Jerome Too Late Powell and his entire board, saying they should all be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to the United States. They have one of the easiest yet most prestigious jobs in America, and they have failed and continue to do so. If they were doing their job properly, our country would be saving trillions of dollars in interest costs, but instead, the board just sits there and watches, so they are equally to blame. We should be paying 1% interest or better. And the Patriot Oasis says, breaking. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says they are working to select new Fed chair to replace Jerome Powell in coming weeks. But wait, there's more. Because it only gets worse. Pam Bondi, arrests should be made after a multi-billion-dollar healthcare fraud scheme included giving people unnecessary skin grafts has just been reported by Fox News by way of the DOJ.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs.
$14.6 billion, folks. Did you hear that? And all this is unfolding right now as we speak. But ironically, also happening right now as we speak, the U.S. Senate rejects measures to kick illegal aliens off Medicaid 56 to 44.
On this vote, the yeas are 56, the nays are 44. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative, the motion is not agreed to.
I disagree with them. There is always dignity in fighting for the American people, especially folks who are just trying to get by. I've talked to so many people in my state that are fearful of this, who have illnesses, who have adopted children who are on Medicaid. You know, when you adopt a kid through foster care, they're on Medicaid. I met this woman named Kiana Brown who says that what's going on here makes her feel like the Republicans are burning down her house and the kids are still inside. She is fearful that they're going to lose their Medicaid coverage, and one of her kids has special health care needs, and she cannot not afford to buy health insurance for this child. So, I mean, if it takes us till 6 in the morning or all day tomorrow, we should stay here, and if we can, try to make this bill a lot less bad. But at the same time, we should be here fighting for the American people. I don't care if it takes a month if we have to stay straight through. So I disagree with my colleague from Pennsylvania.
It was going to only need 50 plus 1 votes, but the Democrat parliamentarian decided it needed 60 votes while scrutinizing the big, beautiful bill. And as you just heard and saw, Mark Kelly throws shade on Republicans while speaking out of both sides of his mouth when actually condemning his colleague from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman, and his comments about just wanting to ditch work and go hang out at the beach on vacation. Do you know how many days off, how much vacation time they have on their calendar every year? It is insane. The only other Democrat with more time off taken was Joe Biden. But nevertheless, the Senate has rejected the big, beautiful bill provision to kick illegals off Medicaid. Shocker, right? And just in, President Trump is backing Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's new bill that would exclude illegal immigrants from the census. Benny Johnson posted this gem with Stephen Miller, and once it's law, the U.S. Census Bureau will be required to conduct a new census immediately. Democrats would be poised to lose House seats and Electoral College votes if passed, and MTG says she just got off the phone with President Trump and told him about her new bill that she's introducing that will save America's elections from ever being stolen again. She said, "My bill will require the U.S. Census Bureau to conduct a new census immediately upon enactment of the bill. In conducting the new census of the U.S. population, it shall require questions determining the citizenship of each individual and count U.S. citizens only. Upon completion of the census, the bill will direct states to immediately begin a redistricting of all U.S. House seats process using only the population of United States citizens." And she says, "Thank you, President Trump, for your strong support of my bill, making American elections great again." Let's get this done. I almost feel like it's the ending of President Trump and the messages that he shares. And he says, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." And not a moment too soon either. But there's no question as to why Democrats want to protect illegals so much. And Denise posted this saying, "By the way, maybe Massey and Paul should spend more time on their state instead of obstructing President Trump." A critique of Representatives Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, both Kentucky libertarians known for obstructing Trump's agenda. With Massey's 324 no votes in the 113th Congress and Paul's 2011 $500 billion budget cut proposal highlighting their resistance to centralized authority, clashing with Trump's immigration stance. And One American News drops this brutal bombshell in how the DOJ sues Kentucky over policy providing discounted in-state tuition to illegal aliens. What the fuck? Can anyone say unconstitutional discrimination? This is bullshit. And speaking of BS, Mark Kelly needs to get his head out of his ass. But the One Big Beautiful Bill Act provision to penalize states providing health coverage to undocumented immigrants by reducing federal Medicaid funding has faced opposition in the Senate. Specifically, Senator Susan Collins and John Fetterman voted against this measure, a Republican and a Democrat. And the provision required 60 votes to pass due to Senate rules, and their opposition contributed to its challenges. Conversely, John Ossoff, Democrat out of Georgia, voted in favor of the provision. But as of now, I don't have a complete and comprehensive list of all senators who voted against it. But if anyone out there can help me with that, then it would be greatly appreciated. But like I said, wait, there's more, because it only gets worse. And $14.6 billion in Medicare fraud, waste, and abuse has to be repaid somehow, right? And who do you think this is going to hurt the most? Yeah, that's right.
In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme. But there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing. First, let me be clear about what these healthcare fraud schemes mean for every hardworking American family. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money. They stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice. And when criminals defraud these programs, they're not just committing theft. They're driving up our national deficit and threatening the long-term viability of healthcare for seniors, disabled Americans, and our most vulnerable citizens. This enforcement action involves the seizure of cash, as well as luxury vehicles and properties, returning real money to American taxpayers and to our government healthcare programs. Second, we are seeing a disturbing trend of transnational criminal organizations engaging in increasingly sophisticated and complex criminal schemes that defraud the American healthcare system. As part of this takedown, we've identified and charged defendants operating from Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other foreign countries. These individuals have infiltrated our healthcare system to steal American taxpayer dollars. As just one example, we dismantled a scheme involving a sophisticated operation run from Russia and Eastern Europe that strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies in the United States and submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent healthcare claims to Medicare. To make matters worse, these perpetrators used the stolen identities of more than 1 million Americans spanning all 50 states to perpetrate this scheme and submit these false claims. But I'm pleased to report that federal agents intercepted and arrested key members of that organization at U.S. airports and the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting off their intended escape routes. The days of transnational criminal organizations using the American healthcare programs as their personal piggy bank are over.
The recent Department of Justice crackdown exposing an almost $15 billion Medicare and other healthcare fraud scheme underscores the critical need to protect American taxpayer money, your money, from sophisticated transnational criminal networks. With 324 defendants charged, including 96 medical professionals and $245 million in assets seized, this unprecedented operation reveals the scale of theft targeting Medicare and Medicaid. Schemes like the $10 billion Operation Gold Rush urinary catheter fraud involving stolen identities of over 1 million Americans highlight the audacity of these criminals operating from countries like Russia, Eastern Europe, and Pakistan. But this massive fraud not only drains public funds, but signals potential changes to healthcare systems as authorities tighten oversight. And you know, I'm always looking out for you. So, in order to prepare, saving money and staying informed are paramount in times like these and when shit hits the fan. Calling Chapter at 270-467-2426 offers a free, reliable way to explore money savings Medicare options. Their trained experts are available 24/7 to answer questions by phone or online, ensuring you're fully covered while maximizing savings. This is a fluid situation, but having a trustworthy ally like Chapter to talk to about anything concerning you is crucial. Don't delay. Dial 270-467-2426 now to secure your financial peace of mind before reforms or restrictions hit. Pick up the phone and dial 270-467-2426. I'll keep that number on the screen for you, and make sure that you're covered fully. And most importantly, saving as much money as humanly possible right now. Call Chapter. It's free. Don't waste time. Do it now before it's too late. 270-467-2426. And I bet you'll be so glad after you do. And this is where I leave you, folks. But stick with me because this might be the most important part of this video. Social Security checks for some Americans to be reduced by 50% starting next month. And so basically tomorrow or in less than 24 hours. Some Americans will see a significant reduction in their Social Security checks as the Social Security Administration, the SSA, moves to recover billions of dollars in overpayments made over the past decade. The SSA had already begun withholding 10% from people who were overpaid 2 years ago, but now the agency is increasing the withholding rate to 50%. That's right, half your check. What would you do if your Social Security check was cut in half? Could you afford to keep up with the cost of living and survive? And I just can't stress enough the importance of budgets and saving money. So please, whatever you do, make sure you call Chapter and see how much you can save. But if you received a letter or already had your retirement checks reduced, and you already know the overpayments were attributed to miscalculations and instances where recipients failed to report changes in their income. The SSA's decision to increase the withholding percentage is part of its efforts to rectify the financial discrepancies and recover the funds distributed in error. So I guess Doge was good for something, right? But an August 2024 report from the SSA's Office of the Inspector General states that Social Security paid out nearly $72 billion in improper payments during fiscal year 2015 to 2022. And the worst part is, if any of that money went to illegals, then it's pretty much as good as gone now. Ain't no way they're ever going to get all that back. And I don't know if the SSA accepts payments in pesos. But to wrap all this up, there is a glimmer of hope, folks. I mean, come on. You didn't think I was just going to leave and send you off with bad news, did you? And so, if you've been overpaid by Social Security and face benefit reductions starting in July, you have options. You can request a waiver to avoid repaying the overpayment if it wasn't your fault, or if you can't afford to repay it, or you believe it's just plain old unfair. Visit the SSA website and complete the waiver form to seek some sort of relief. And I'll link it below in the description and on a pinned comment for you and anyone else you know who may need it. This could help protect your financial stability and ease the burden of repayment. And be sure to check for more details on the SSA's repayment options on their website, or call and try to contact them directly. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. Please consult one, and be careful who may try to offer you assistance to wipe out this debt. And be careful. Don't share information that can identify you or further compromise you if they give you the creeps or anything. Stay locked in and stick with me, folks, and don't miss a thing. Be sure to check out the links below, and at the bottom of the description, there's an opt-in for my free newsletter, and you're more than welcome to join if you'd like and get the latest updates and an invitation to exclusive events, including my free mastermind. Thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, let me know and subscribe.